Hello. So this video is actually on adapting to COVID-19, how to work from home and schooling your children. As COVID-19 has spread throughout the world, many companies and individuals have transitioned to working from home to comply with social distancing guidelines. This can be somewhat complicated without children, but add kids to the mix who have to stay at home for school, and it can be significantly more challenging to juggle work and home responsibilities. Excuse me. Um, some tips on how to this is just a list of some tips I found on how to balance being productive at work and successfully schooling your children. Now, this actual resource I found on a website that was designed for college students, but I think it could be helpful to anyone right now who has children. So, tip number one, keep your supervisor in the loop. Almost every supervisor is going to be understanding if they know that you're trying to work at home with kids and won't have unrealistic expectations, especially if you're a single parent. Just make sure to stay in regular communication with your supervisor to know what they expect of you during a particular day or week. You may want to talk to your supervisor to see if an alternative work schedule is an option to accommodate time spent schooling your children. You might also want to design specific times to check in with your supervisor and let them know of times that work for video/audio conference calls meetings for you. For example, this could be times when your kids are typically napping or working on schoolwork themselves. Again, speak with your supervisor to see what options are available to you. Another tip is to use your resources that are available. Fortunately, you're not in this alone, as there are many people out there that can help you in schooling your child. For example, your child's school may provide lesson plans, homework, or even video class times for your child. This will help you keep them occupied and make sure that they're still on track with their schooling. Some schools have even provided devices to assist with online learning. If you discover that your child needs more resources, your child's school hasn't given you too much guidance, there's actually a wealth of online resources, including Khan Academy, PBS Learning Media, Actively Learn, and SparkNotes. Additionally, you might want to reach out to fellow parents to see what strategies they're using to handle working and schooling their children. This could be especially helpful if your children are in the same class and have the same school assignments. Another helpful tip is to schedule blocks of time for work and school. The most important thing you can do is to make sure that you've scheduled in blocks of time where you can work as uninterrupted as possible. Ideally, you'll have a couple of hours where you can work without needing to stop that will allow you to get some forward momentum on projects. If possible, you should make sure that you're working when your kids are doing schoolwork, if they are able to do it independently, that is. For example, you may give your 8-year-old a worksheet to do for 15 minutes, plus assign some reading for 15 minutes, effectively buying you 30 minutes of work time. If you have multiple children in different grades, it might be helpful to get as many of them as possible working on schoolwork at the same time so that you can get some focused work time for your work. Obviously, you'll have to jump in for more for younger kids, but allotting times for work, school, and education activity might help. So another thing is to establish a schedule and make sure the schedule actually includes short breaks. So having a scheduled routine is extremely important to making sure that you and your kids succeed. If you're able to make sure that you and your kids are getting up at regular time each morning, because mornings are the best time to do focus work, and it is much better to start early than get a late start. If you have kids in lower grades, you might want to make sure that they get their schoolwork done in the mornings, a few dedicated hours of school, and then independent play is way better than on and off schoolwork throughout the day. It's also important that you and your kids get ready each day. While we all love the idea of being in our pajamas the whole day, it isn't conducive for getting quality work done because our mind thinks that is time to relax. And also, as I mentioned before, don't forget breaks. You do it all the time when you're working, by going to the bathroom, briefly chatting with colleagues, going to the water cooler, and so forth. Taking a brief mid-morning break to hang out with your kids will help. If you're able, get out and try going for a walk outside, get some fresh air. But make sure that you're still practicing social distancing. So, and focus on the important task. Because there's a good chance that you're going to get interrupted with kids, you want to focus by completing your most important tasks, what has to get done for the day first. Similarly, your kids should focus on getting what's important things they should get done first at school. Make sure that there's a lesson plan that gives you and your kids guidance on what needs to be done each day, whether that's from your teachers or something you come up with for yourself. So also acknowledge that different ages will have different needs right now. So it's important to remember that different ages will have different needs. So you want to plan accordingly. One suggestion is that to make a study plan based on your child's age and attention span, you might consider figuring out how long your child can focus. So let's see. There's some additional tips for younger kids and stuff, but they actually have a thing that says you might want to consider how long by multiplying. So figuring out how is by multiplying your child's age by 2 to 5 minutes. This works out to be about 1 to 2 hours for younger children, 2 to 3 hours for tweens, and 3 to 4 for teenagers. Additionally, tips for toddlers include most schoolings for toddlers is going to require an adult being present and even very involved, so try to plan your work breaks around your toddler's education needs. As kids start to get older and enter school, you can be more clear in what you need from your kids and allow them to do things more independently. In other words, you don't have to be consistently checking up on them. Encourage them to get their work done in the morning so that they can spend their afternoons in free play. You might want to come up with a fun list of activities that you can do in the afternoon once school is done, like making slime, having a dance party, playing in the backyard, and so forth. So some additional tips for teenagers involves with older kids, you want to make sure that you come up with daily expectations for schoolwork, and you might consider giving them privileges for being responsible. You can also talk to your older kids about what's going on, their thoughts, and direct them to some resources they can read about if the pandemic, if they're curious. So given the uncertainty of the current crisis, you may find it challenging to be a parent and a working professional at the same time, and you might be feeling defeated. Remind yourself that you're doing your best and that this is a new experience for everyone involved, you and your kids. Cut yourself some slack and remember that even if today is rough, tomorrow is a new day. So, thank you for watching.